That's it, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Steve Ikaruga. Welcome to the final episode of Trails Into Reverie. These are but minute fragments of memories drifting in an endless ocean, memories of what will be in the near future. I feel like I had to rush that. I don't know why. Yes, this is Beyond the Memory, Daydream, the final one. Could they be shadows of the tangled threads woven by Elysium? Or perhaps faded illusions that slip through the cracks of time and space? Being dramatical, there are none who know the answer. The last light one led into what would be the next game, so I wonder if this is to say. Oh wow, there's two, okay. Another Hot Springs. What have you got to me, game? Another Hot Springs Paradise? Well, I'm totally down for that. Oh, I love me some Hot Springs. January, year 1208 of the Septian calendar. Ah, they already hit. I love this song so much. I know I say it's every single song, but I really do. Between two great mountains at the tip of the Calvardian Basin. Ooh, this is about the new game. Sits a long lie. The town is known for two things: being the eastern entrance to the Republic and its exceptional hot springs. So it wouldn't be a Trails game if they also didn't have hot springs. That's a good sign. Through these enticing factors does it continue to welcome tourists hailing from both home and abroad. Yet today it served guests quite unlike its many unseasoned visitors. These had come from another renowned hot springs paradise situated in the northern reaches of Erebonia. That would be Ymir. Oh, this is cool. Is it like a book? Is this a storybook or something? I assume it's Rean's family in the lease. Rean already looks older. That's weird. He doesn't. He's always had a baby face. Well, Lease looks much better in that outfit, mustn't it? The depth of flavour in the food here is just exquisite. Agreed. The thing that swings food is certainly nothing to sneeze at, but I have my doubts the chef could replicate dishes this unique in taste. The Bishan's Inn's reputation continues to supersede itself. Baron Teo and Lady Lucia Schwarzer were sampling the inn's culinary delights, spirits high and stomachs filling fast. Their daughter Elise sat next to them, her spirit a bit lower by comparison, to brows furrowed with concern. I'm sure its luxuries come with just an equally luxurious price tag. She's just like me. As soon as I eat out, it's like, my god, this is a rip-off. Be £5 for chips. You know what I mean? Anyway. And there's four of us. It seemed 2 nights must have cost a small fortune. Upon realising what she said, she shook her head. I didn't mean to dampen the mood. Kinda did. I know we have the money, but all of my budgeting as student council president has made a terrible habit of me seeing the numbers and everything. Her older brother Rean couldn't help but let out a chuckle. Then the budget buster in you will like how much we saved. Because we're not here as paying customers. We were invited by the owners personally. Plus I think Rean's minted. Between all the games, from how much mirror I have, he's got about 6 million. So I think he's fine. They said they wanted to get to know us since we run similar establishments. So here we are. And we'll be inviting them to Ymir sooner than later, of course. Alright, Dad? Oh, absolutely. And add this to the list of boons coming from our countries finally coming to terms with one another. For now. For now, let's be honest. It's Trails games. You know, what's it? The world is never safe in Trails games. Anyway, the Republic is reveling in unheard levels of prosperity, and relations between our people are more active and festive than ever. I, for one, welcome any opportunity to further foster friendship. Although, as you saw from the last Daydream, I don't think their present is all about the friends, you know what I mean? The Baron took another healthy sip of his Maiju before continuing. Friendship over fighting, I say. It's a shame that the world tends to overcomplicate that simple concept. Seeing her husband's glass was almost empty, Lucia filled it to the brim while adding her own thoughts. That's a wife right there. That's all the more reason why we need to make the most of this invitation and enjoy ourselves to the fullest. Their children nodded in agreement. Yes. And even at a side, there's no reason to spoil a family vacation when we so rarely have time to take them. Oh, I read about some unusual sweet dishes worth trying here. Would you like to share some with me, Rean? In a bit, I'm thinking of taking another soak in the hot... Of course he is. It's Rean. He would live in a spa if he could. He would just sit in the water and never leave. So I might be in the mood for something sweet after. The food, I do really want... I know this is very off topic. I do really want to go to a Japanese hot spring. I must admit. They look super chill. The food here is delicious, but as far as I'm concerned, the hot springs are the real star of the show. That's my boy right there. the ruling lord of the hot springs paradise, would never let a good discussion about them passing by. He was as fond of their quality and soothing effects as Rean. Enthusiasm undeniably apparent from the warmth of his tone to the width of his smile. Their medicinal springs happen to be a favourite of mine. Can't help but be fascinated by them time again. I don't know why I wanted to go Scottish there, I don't know why. I can't believe it. I've always known about them, but here's the first place I've been able to feel the way they warm me right to your core. Think we can make one available at the Phoenix Wings? It'd be worth a try, but it comes with its own obstacles. For as many problems as Teo expressed in practical terms, Rean held just as many proposed solutions. Boy. The conversation grew more involved by the minute, leaving the ladies of the house to pleasedly bask in their glow and continue enjoying the meal before them. They're super bored. All four felt the same, that it had been too long since they could enjoy each other's company, but the wait had been well worth it. So this is obviously after the Trails Reverie. Sorry, I'm dying there. That night, after indulging in his post-dinner soak in the springs and telling his family he was going for a walk, Rean departed the inn. Alright, let's do this. He took in a deep breath, crisp night air of Long Lai filling his lungs. The hot springs were an excellent bonus to his trip, to be sure, but it was not the real reason he agreed to visit. Please say we can see the master, the 8 Leaves master dude, please. Finally! Well, not in animated form, but I'll take it. Oh, I love this song as well. He comes in search of Yun Ka-Fai, the famed sword hermit. Master Ka-Fai was the founder of the 8 Leaves One Blaze School, which Rean was a practitioner. And though now over 70 years old, he was still regarded as one of the strongest combatants on the continent. They had not met since Rean's enrollment at Paws. Many a letter was exchanged during the 4 years that followed, but even they had stopped after Rean earned the right to call himself a Divine Blade over a year ago. There was so very much he wished to discuss with his master. What he had learned in his 4 years of training. Wow, so the entire Cold Steel and Trails Reverie was 4 years. That's not bad. Or maybe not, I don't know. What had transpired since becoming a Divine Blade. The true meaning behind being the final blade to master the 8 Leaves. There's plenty I'd like to ask that have nothing to do with a swordsmanship too. All his questions, all impossible to answer without first knowing the whereabouts of a single individual. Even a senior practitioner like Cassius Bright claimed ignorance, and received not a single update from their old master. He had always been an elusive but traceable sort, but wherever he was now, he was next to impossible to track. I really wonder if he's in the next game. I think I did see in a trailer one girl had a touchy type weapon, which I assume is 8 Leaves, so maybe he's got another disciple or something? I don't know, that'd be dope. That was until word of a Blade Master being sighted in Long Lai reached Rean's ears. The man held a fondness for the town's specialties, those being the hot springs and its fragrant tea leaves, making the sighting worthy of particular note. He also knew the letters before they stopped that he intended to journey eastward, making Long Lai one of the more plausible stopping points. The word came to him just as the Schwarzers were invited to stay at the inn during their New Year vacation. Rean's instincts told him the timing was a little too fortunate, but with how vague the lead was, even it would most likely result in him leaving the same as he had arrived. While he had not discussed the rumour being key to his travelling here, his family seemed to sense it was more than a simple pleasure trip for him. I know Dad would have had a great time catching up with him. I don't want to get his hopes up for nothing. These thoughts in mind, Rean made his way through the night streets. Ooh! Oh, I'm so down for it. I know it's a more Eastern style area, way more than Erebonia was. Erebonia I think is more European inspired, right? The buildings and that. I know that Calvard's more like Japan and that. Long Lai's architecture was distinctly Eastern, making it a uniquely intriguing sight among most of Calvard's towns and cities. This is not to say it was similar to Crossbell's East Street. With subtle colours paired with dignified beauty, every wall and stone exuded the traditional concepts of wabi-sabi. Yeah, if I failed the pronunciation of these words, do not hate me. One that was enough to understand the region was rich with history. This quiet charm would give way to contrastly lively evenings, where tourists both westward and farther eastward were greeted to stalls dedicated in the hot springs and more. This too held a traditional sort of charm. Rean asked several merchants if they had any information pertaining to the whereabouts of his master, somewhat sheepishly purchasing a number of souvenirs from their stalls to keep himself from being a nuisance. He's such a goody two-shoes, I love it. They, he justified, would make excellent gifts for his friends, his co-workers, and his students, and his lady friend Elisa. They're barely married at this point. I'll be upset with you, Falcom. Make that happen. Aww. I love this art style they got going on here. I can't believe it's almost time for them to graduate. I might be more emotional about theirs. Oh, this is a year later then. Oh wow, okay, this is way in the future. Especially for Trails, this is like 100 years away. Might be more emotional about theirs than I was for mine. For the first time, Rean would get to experience what it was like for the young birds he had taken under his wing for 2 years to finally need a nest. Aww. The first year had been eventful, to say the least, understatement. What had started as a problem class full of disagreements and mounting tension had slowly grown into one of compassion and understanding for one another. It was with each new discovery about themselves and every new ordeal the world sought to impose upon them that they grew not only as individuals, but as a team. He hoped this period would remain as much a meaningful part of their lives as it would always be for him. Months before the retributive tower's appearance of many a trial, making the 10 months that followed in its shadow pass all too quickly. 10 months is the exact time. In that time, Rean students continued to mature, building on everything they accomplished in their first year to prepare for and settle into the desired future. Well, I assume Yuna's going to police academy, Kurt's probably going to become a sword trainer, Ryu's going to become the god emperor of the world, and Ash will just be a bracer, I think. Indeed, whether it was by overcoming their demons or by learning to work with them in a healthier fashion, the paths up till now had been well worn, and while they may have had to rest from time to time, it was proud to be a part of why their steps continued to face forward. Proud, also lonely at the thought of saying goodbye. Aww. Kinda wish we could get an animated scene of them saying goodbye, but you know. As their second year drew to close, lacking in grandiose events but still rewarding in its own right, it was this mixture of emotions that bore conflict within him most. Can't believe I'll be going through it all over again next year, and even the year after that. Hell of a career I chose to pursue. He didn't know when he stopped walking. Realising this, he resumed his search, paying respect in mind to the many generations of educators who came before him. No matter where he looked, he could not find Master Ka-Fai in Longley. It was, however, still too early to say whether the trip had been in vain. He had at least caught an unverified report of the Blade Master being seen in the mountains to the south. Wandering such terrain at night wasn't going to be ideal, but Rean was already firm on spending the next day with his family. Tonight it would have to be. Making a brief stop to the inn to tuck his souvenirs somewhere secure, he then departed for his new destination. So I wonder if we'll see Rean in the Calvard arc. Like, just wandering around, that'd be dope. Because I highly suspect Rean and Lloyd are going to appear, and Estelle will appear at some point. The mountains' winding, half-beaten trails were more treacherous at night. They were not off limits as such. The key, Rean knew, would be to not rely on sight alone. His senses of hearing and smell, perhaps even touch, were going to be equally vital in the hours ahead. Calling upon his experience and intellect to heighten all 5 senses, he took in his surroundings in full. This really takes us back to the training in the mountains. To call the experience training would imply his time being one of a simple tutelage between student and master, but equated to so much more. The danger then was far worse than it was now, with some days requiring him to set foot in highly dangerous territories just to find the day's food to survive. Did you not bring any food with you? You could have just brought bread or something. Sounds like the Kunlun Mountains may have been used for similar exercise a long time ago. Rean was certain to think on the information gained during his search, so he continued along the trail. But I love this song as well. Searching for evidence of human activity in an environment like this was also a difficult task. Humans always leave something indicative of their presence, behind that no wild creature could. Be it a long dead fire, footprints, or traces of going on the hunt. One need only follow the light to lead to their source. Doesn't sound right. Rean did so, advancing with the caution instilled in him by both his old master and hunting enthusiasts of Afara. It soon led him precisely to clear evidence that a human had been in the area, though the evidence itself was far from what he expected. Ooh. Remains of a camp? No. This is. Didn't look like it had been left by martial artists in training or roaming hunters. But the most peculiar thing was that there was multiple sites like the first, all evenly spaced from one to the next. It was as though something was being measured. Maybe this is from a group of scholars doing field research? But it seems too large in scale for that. There was nothing more to be found here. Rean advanced. Soon after, he found another unusual mound of evidence. It's like someone forced their way through here in a car, or more like hacked open a path wide enough for a car to pass through. All further inspection here suggested that whoever was responsible had given up on this endeavour, leading him to wonder if they somehow found success elsewhere. Making a road? I don't know. And if they did, why did they have this done at all? The question pestered him. If there was anywhere to clear wide paths, the remote depths of the mountains certainly were not it, but instinct told him he was only a step away from discovering the answer. If I keep following this trail a little farther... Oh, and music fades out. Let the tension build, legend. At this fort, Rean sensed someone approaching. One person, two people. Yes, there were two, and it was clear they were aware of his presence as well. Only for a fleeting second did he think they might be the ones responsible for the strange trails. But a deadly tension that now thickened the air told him these were no simple scholars. He felt them draw near, the night veiling themselves well, and then he felt them stop. How about you show yourselves? Oh, it's the mystery music. He spoke about placing his hand on his tachi, signifying to those watching that he had no desire to fight. The silhouettes then silently emerged from the darkest shadows of the mountains. They looked very much like the shinobi of the east he had heard about, their forms clad from top to bottom in black garments, and their faces fully obscured. Oh damn. Oh, I'd love a Rean in Eastern times is dope. I see your insight poses a threat after all, divine blade of the Empire. The contract with our client has yet to begin. We will make an exception for one among their list of dangerous persons. See, there was no way there was going to be peace in Zamura, no way. Silhouettes then charged. Oh, you are so screwed. They caught him completely off guard, drawing short, straight blades to attack him as they narrowed in. Rean's eyes widened in surprise, but in that same moment he was in a fighting stance, hand over his steel-sheathed tachi. Fifth form, morning moon. Oh, hell yes. You can't beat Rean, okay? He perceived the direction of his foe's attacks to evade them, and then mounted a counterattack of his own. All it took was that instant to repel their assault and leave them vulnerable. Ordinarily, this would be the time to take the offensive, but all Rean could do was stare at the two with disbelief. The thought enters my mind as I saw you move, and out with crossed blades. He paused, disbelief in his eyes giving way to a more intent gaze. Are you practitioners of the 8 Leaves School? Another pause, this time from the silhouettes, before answering as though they were all aware the question was coming. No, though we do possess ties to the school. We are of the Ikaruga, practitioners of the Black God One Blaze School. Well, that's a pretty sick sounding martial art. Black God One, okay. The what? Rean was left stunned. Two Ikaruga held their blades horizontally, ready to thrust them forward at any moment. It was as though they wanted to make clear that while they had been caught off guard once, he would not be so fortunate twice. Rean responded by assuming the middle stance with his tachi, just as the sides were only a beat away from engaging in battle. My god, this is getting super intense. What could only be described as a black cyclone roared from the darkness at such speed that it seemed certain to slice anything it touched. Its appearance caught Rean by surprise more than the initial attacks by the silhouettes. He had not suspected an attack from that angle, that distance, or even that moment. His enemies, on the other hand, did not so much as flinch at the sight. The approaching blade, over an arge and a half in length, was heading directly for Rean's back. He couldn't possibly dodge it now. Perhaps he should have noticed, perhaps it was impossible to notice. Whatever the answer, the divine blade of the Empire would soon fall. No. Okay, I don't believe you. Silhouettes waited in his final moments to be convinced of no other fate in his future. Oh, they're in for a shock when he goes spirit invocation on their asses. When Rean spun his body in a full circle, applying the intensity built into his tachi from the motion to swing. The blow made was weighted yet precise, shifting the incoming blade to a new direction without mitigating its near overpowering force. His technique was an application of the first form, Helix. Oh, I spammed that so much. There was no greater course in the moment than to use it to redirect the attack without it ever making direct contact. He did all this in the blink of an eye. That's how good Rean is. The spinning blade was now significantly off its intended course, but Rean slashed at it again, birthing a shockwave that further shifted its path. The blade went flying hairs to the right of the direction it had come from. A hand was there to deftly catch it mid-air. Whoa, look at that! That is sick looking. I mean, I've got to screenshot that, haven't I? You may have only recently taken a title, but you're worthy of being called a divine blade all the same. You use the unclouded eye well. From this hand emerged a new figure from the darkness. While he was clad in similar garments to the silhouettes, something about his presence was much more inspired by comparison. His musculature was very discernible. Oh my god, I'm sorry. Beneath his body covering fortified suit, his every movement, however slight, reflected a complete lack of hesitation, and the faint light in his eyes, visible through his mask, projected no emotion whatsoever. The man possessed the aura of a true warrior, one protected only by those who have fought more battles than was possible to count. Fall back, he is too formidable a foe for you to handle. The silhouette slid into the darkness in an instant. Only a new arrival was left to face Rean. I need to know, who are you, and why did you attack me? A contract forbids this. Oh my gosh, how did I not realise that? Are these from the same group as Swin and Nadia? Because they're assassins from the east, right? Maybe? A contract forbids the disclosure of such information. You will leave this place now, fledgling divine blade. The tone was not one of advice, nor one of order. It was as if the man were stating a fact, his calmness veiling an undertone of malice. It told Rean what would happen if he did not do what was told. I'm afraid I can't do that without an explanation. Rean does not care. Not when I haven't found what I'm looking for yet. I understand. Then, there was no longer anything to discuss. All they could do was battle. I, Kurogane of the Rogetsu School, shall be your opponent. I'm ruining his pronunciation. Kurogane stood at attention. The large blade he has thrown before now pointed. I'd rather settle this with words, but I can see that's not an option. Rean sighed, taking his own stance in turn. Then the Schwarzer, master of the 8 League's One Blade School's 7th form, shall be yours. The divine blade moved instantly. The bizarre weapon Kurogane wielded was less akin to a sword, more 4 equally sized blades arranged in the shape of a cross, the bases connecting to a single point. And he could direct this large weighted shuriken, as though it were a simple child's toy, spoke volumes about how strong he was. Still, even if it was not infallible, for it was not one to be ideally used in close range combat. That's true. Kurogane appeared to have no other key weapons on hand, either meaning that if Rean could force him to fight where he would be at his most disadvantageous, he would very likely come out of this the victor. This was what he had in mind when choosing to act first. Second form, Gale. He closed the gap between them, drew his blade and made a wide swing towards his opponent in the blink of an eye. Kurogane blocked the blow with ease. That, however, meant nothing in a large scheme of things. Rean knew well this man's capabilities. So long as the gap between them was closed, and it was, he considered the attack a success. Just as he thought he would be able to push onward and overpower his foe by mounting a newly fierce assault, Kurogane has split his cross-shaped shuriken in half. The ease at which he made it clear this was intended by design. Oh, why can't you do this, like actually play this fight? This is sick. He can dual wield double sabers? There was no hiding his shock. In the West, double sabers were often seen as relics from the Dark Ages. They were difficult to utilise. Crow was the only person Rean knew who was competent with one, and only one. The skill it would take to use two was almost too difficult to fathom. His surprise created an opening that Kurogane was not going to let pass unexploited. Possessing twin two-ended blades allowed the shinobi to perform considerably more strikes than Rean, giving him no chance to push back. Go on, Rean! Hold your ground. Steel sparked as their weapons clashed. Kurogane was dominant for some time, but he could do nothing to bolster his advantage. With strike and spark after strike and spark, the advantage was moving back to Rean. Come on, our lad. This was in part due to him being used to fighting this weapon that defied rationale. It was also because he had been given the time to find what he was looking for, the perfect range in which to attack. Seriously, Rean is super underrated as just a swordsman. by the community, I should say. Double sabers were forged with a shorter reach than they would appear to have, something inevitable due to their handle being in the middle. It could have been because he also used them as shuriken, but the length of Kurogani's sabers were even shorter than Crow's, meaning Rean would have to adjust with the longer length of his blade. He measured patiently, staying only just out of Kurogani's reach and evading the onslaught by a hair's breadth each time prior to countering. It was calculated quickly thanks to Kurogani's frequent rapid attacks, meaning all Rean had to do now was wait for the right moment. This moment would come in the form of his opponent showing impatience for the stalled battle. Driving him to take an unneeded step forward, Rean evaded the strike expertly. I'm so proud of my boy. I'm so sorry. Instantly returning it with an upward diagonal slash. Hell yes. The forceful swing of his tachi made contact with the handle of Kurogani's own swung weapon, knocking it clean out of his hand. Rean dashed forward to make use of this availed opportunity, but after only a flicker of bewilderment, Kurogani moved to deny him. This is insane. He blocked Rean's attack with a double saber still in his possession, then hurled a hidden kunai with his free hand, jumping backward a significant distance while doing so. This is incredibly high. Very good, Divine Blade of the Eight Leaves. You may pale to the skills of our princess, but you without doubt deserve your reputation. Princess? Rean's intonation went unanswered as Kurogani took a notably different stance than before. I shall demonstrate my respect for your skill with my finest technique. This put Rean staunchly on guard, senses heightened. He focused every nerve in his body, fixed his eyes on whatever was to come of Kurogani. He was now gone. Nothing remained where Rean's opponent had just stood. He hadn't taken his eyes off him, never eased himself for a moment, yet Kurogani was nowhere to be seen. How? Had he moved that quickly? Was it some kind of spatial translocation? Nailed it. There were no signs to indicate either one. Was it that he never moved at all, or was still there, sight unseen? No, that wasn't it. Either. The double saber Rean had repelled to the ground was also gone. I can still sense him, so he hasn't gone far. Rean suppressed the panic welling up within, honing his senses a second time. My god. That was when another black cyclone swirled toward him from the shadows. He half expected something of this nature, so with little deviation he was able to deflect it as he did the first time. The attack indicated that Kurogani had reassembled the shuriken after recovering its lost half, so he could throw it again. It also indicated, together with a slight change in his surroundings, where he was now positioned. Rean needed a little more time to know where he was for certain, but ahead of making a solid conclusion, the cyclone came at him yet again from a new angle. That was fast, though he blocked this attack as well at the last before he could fully correct his posture. The next cyclone approached. The gap between was getting shorter and shorter. My god, poor Rean. Hey, wait, calm down lad, calm down. There was another. This time was shorter and another shorter. Soon these assorted smaller cyclones were seemingly glowing into a blended grand storm of death, with Rean trapped at its centre. It doesn't feel like I'm being attacked by a single person. Did he make phantom copies of himself? He had no idea from where the next cyclone would form, and by the time he located it, the next one was ready. Even the unclouded eye wasn't going to be enough for him to deduce Kurogani's location. He had been able to repel every blade that met with his so far. That was growing increasingly difficult. I didn't want to use it, but I'm not sure I have a choice. Go on! Spirit Unification, my dude. I spam this all the time, now it's only right you do it. Well aware that doing so would place him in danger, Rean took his mind off the battle. He gave up blocking and evading attacks, dedicating the bare minimum of his focus to not sustaining lethal blows, and focusing his mind inward. He focused on the power that he had long cultivated inside of him. The power he had feared, loathed and rejected. The power he now relied on, desired, and nearly surrendered himself to. The power he faced with his loved ones at his side, making it a true part of himself. Oh, I'm getting so hyped and there's nothing visually happening. With his mind clear as day, he unleashed his full strength. Enlightened Spirit Unification. He imbued his tachi with the great power surging out of him, crying out as he did so. Oh, now you're screwed. And spinning his body forcibly around to create a bladed circle around him. The energy released by his tachi repelled all forthcoming shuriken with ease, and with them, Kurogani's phantom copies lurking in the darkness faded to nothing. with that. There you are! He charged toward Kurogane. The man was thoroughly overwhelmed by Rean's sudden counterattack, throwing him completely off balance. There was nothing he could do to repel what would come next. I love Spirit Unification, it's so badass. It's time to settle this. Rean swung his tachi downward while pouring all of his might into a final single strike. Just as the two felt the battle was coming to an end. Zero form duality. Ah, this must be the princess then. This must be the girl that had the tachi that I saw in a trailer, maybe. Accompanied with a voice as beautiful as a bell, with a slash tearing through the sky, its colour so black it threatened to eclipse the moon. It effortlessly stopped Rean's weapon from reaching its target. But that wasn't all. What? With a high-pitched metallic sound, Rean's beloved tachi was suddenly... No! I love that sword! I love that weapon. Rean's beloved tachi was suddenly cleaned in two. Princess? Kurogane was also taken aback by this new arrival. I heard what was happening from both our scouts. You invited me to join the fun, so they're keeping it all to yourself. The words as she chided Kurogane indicated dissatisfaction, but the music of her tone betrayed her excitement. Rean made to see who this mysterious figure was. It is you! We've seen you, I think. Was it not? Different outfit. But that's... I mean, come on. And we're screenshotting that. That's one of the best looking artworks this game's done. And the sight of her alone took his breath away. She was young, wearing a fortified suit that looked to be a marriage of classical and modern Eastern styles with long silver... Okay, so I think it is her. Silver hair that almost appeared to glow in the pale moonlight. Her age was likely close to Rean's, perhaps a little younger, with well-defined features that still held traces of adolescence, pairing strikingly in contrast to the empty void behind her eyes. There was an air of a young noblewoman who had been sheltered from impurities all her life, and the stench of baleful warrior who had bathed in the blood of countless lives. How she was both and neither at once, Rean could not understand. It was this very quality that made her all the more captivating and dangerous. In the woman's left hand was a large black and grey blade that threatened to freeze him for daring to glance at it. No doubt it was what halved Rean's tachi moments ago. Oh, not Rean's tachi. Oh, what did... Rean fumbled for the words as he clutched the useless handle tightly in his hand. The fair-haired woman only smiled as she looked down upon it. Your weapon was very fine. There was never any match for my friend, I'm afraid. She spun the black blade in her hands around gently, while holding it upward toward the night sky, to seemingly display it with pride. It wasn't hard to see why she would boast about possessing such a weapon. He had seen many a blade of historical significance, but instinct told him that hers was better than any of those. The blunt side features an intricate design of deep grey that, while he could not discern its meaning there and then, he knew was nothing less than a work of art. That's an epic looking sword, come on now. There was an aura about it, one cold as ice that seemed to reject its worldly surroundings, making it capable of cutting through anything it so desired. It came in company with a beautiful hilt of deep red that contrasted its body without feeling out of place. Came in company with a beautiful hilt of deep red, contrasted with its body without feeling out of place. I'm so excited to see this lady. If she can defeat Rean in ogre mode and cut his sword in half, when ogre mode Rean can go toe to toe with Ouroboros stuff, that's quite incredible, let's be honest. This juxtaposition, I always hate that word, was in a sense much a reflection of its wielder, with their two opposing natures being distinctive, yet also as one. Rean thought as he observed, her blade was clearly something special, but that alone did not explain the strength behind her attack. He had never heard of the technique she used, but it was certainly connected to the 8 leaves in some way, and the skill she showed in executing it made her equal to her divine blade. He was so fixated on these as these thoughts rushed through his mind that it was only brought out by his sudden laughter. I didn't think I'd ever meet you here, one of our old masters behind guiding us to the same place. So she is a divine blade, or if it's just a happy coincidence. Wait, the manner in which she spoke and her familiarity with Rean gave him a theory. That technique you just used was really something. Consider me intrigued. Oh, he's so lovable. He's put you a league above more interesting than our senior practitioners, so he was right. Are you? But before we could hear what he already knew, she turned away, refusing to let him finish the question. He isn't here, so why don't you run on back to your family? Go and make most of your vacation. Just don't let your skill with a blade slip. The world will need it again one day. So she's not going to kill us, well, that's nice. She spoke with a certain satisfaction as she pointed down to the other half of his broken blade, and then she leaped high, seemingly disappearing on the other side of the moon. Wow. Rean, yeah, me too, Rean. Rean could only stare dumbfounded as she vanished. He couldn't even speak. Kurogane left with her. Oh, I love that sword. That's sad. Hopefully Rean gets a badass one like that then, to make up for it. The Ikaruga, the Black God One Blade School, and our senior practitioners. Rean had been unable to fulfill his objective. Not just that, he was left with countless new questions about the people he encountered and the mountain itself. He felt there was meaning behind being guided to a specific place, but how important it was or what it entailed, he did not know. And yet, the person responsible for discerning that won't be me. Looking down at his broken tachi, he was struck anew with how massive the world truly was. And he realised that, now that his master was confirmed to be elsewhere, the purpose of his visit to Long Lai was nothing more than to enjoy a wonderful, ordinary vacation with his family. This meeting here was but a peculiar coincidence. She almost came across like the Grand Master. Sorry, I'm focused on that lady. Just being able to just destroy like that, I don't know. For now, at least. When I get back, I need to reforge my tachi and myself. Something stirred in this region, all across Calvard. There was nothing he could do about that as he was. All he could focus on was training and bettering himself so he could one day play a part against the next threat that loomed over the distant horizon. So I think he will come back. I'd be shocked if he didn't. Now, resolve welling in his soul, he made his way through the now still mountain trail back to where his loving family awaited. That was amazing. That was sick. Another hot springs paradise at the end. Ooh. Oh, ooh. Well, that's going to be the end of this episode. Wow, okay. That was insanely epic for just being a storybook, right? Narrative book, what's it called? You know what I mean? Where it's just, oh, wow. I think that's the lady from the trailer, I think. The white-haired girl with the tachi, I think. Unless that's like her sister or something, I don't know. But wow. Oh, that's Grandmaster, I don't know. Wow, that was incredible. Well, the unconventional student is next. But we saw 3 strands, if I return. There was 3 strands, not 2, right? I know, I spotted it. I spotted a secrets game. You can't hide from
browsing
it. Yeah, look,
interface.
there's 3 strands. And this is the strand that the Grandmaster held. Ooh, the plot thickens, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot wait for the goddamn Calvard art. Anyway, yes. Now, we saw, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Let you know what you thought about this, because that was super hype. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Charles.